The last guard. That afternoon, the bright sunlight shone down on the busy street where Olivia was rushing home after a long day at work. She was walking Titan, her German Shepherd, in the park near her house as usual. Titan, a loyal and active dog, was always her ideal companion on all her trips. Today, Titan seemed a little more special. He kept sniffing around, more alert than usual. As the two approached the corner, a scene suddenly appeared before Olivia's eyes. A man was lying motionless on the sidewalk, his arms and legs flailing, his face pale. Olivia stopped, slightly panicked, and looked around to see if anyone was helping this man. But no one was there, and she saw Titan's eyes suddenly change. He was no longer as calm as usual. Titan stopped, his whole body tensed, his ears pricked up, and his eyes stared at the man. Olivia knew something was wrong. Titan, despite being a strong and energetic dog, had never acted like this. Normally, Titan was friendly with strangers, sometimes too enthusiastic. But today, it stood there, not daring to come close, just staring at the unconscious man, as if warning him of something. Titan even growled softly in its throat, the sound low and full of tension, as if wanting to protect the man. Olivia was worried. She walked towards the man, checking the surroundings while pulling Titan along. However, Titan refused to take another step. It kept its distance and continued to stare at the man, its eyes seeming to say that something dangerous was waiting. Olivia sighed, feeling Titan's anxiety spreading to her. She turned around and called out to Titan in a gentle voice, "Titan, come here, come. Don't worry, everything will be fine." But Titan still didn't move. Olivia carefully approached the unconscious man and gently checked his pulse, realizing that he might be in a coma. She quickly took out her phone to call an ambulance. But while waiting for help, Olivia couldn't help but wonder, why did Titan act like this? Could it sense some potential danger that she couldn't see? The time waiting for the paramedics seemed to last forever. Olivia stood silently beside the man, her eyes fixed on Titan, her dog, her only friend who had always been there for her in her lonely moments. Although Titan couldn't speak, Olivia could feel something strong in its eyes, as if Titan knew a truth that she couldn't understand. When the paramedics arrived, they began to work quickly, but Titan still stood by the man, not taking his eyes off him. Even though people were approaching, it didn't back down. Its eyes were alert and serious. The paramedics even had to pause their work to ask Olivia about the dog. "Can you control it?" one of the staff asked, worried that the Titan had no intention of moving. Olivia nodded, but she felt a strange unease in her heart. She couldn't understand it, but in that moment, she felt that Titan was protecting something very important, as if this dog knew that the man's life was out of control, and only Titan could realize it. As the paramedics loaded the man onto a stretcher and prepared to take him to the hospital, Olivia decided to follow. Not only because she was worried about the strange man, but also because she felt that Titan was leading her on a journey that she couldn't understand. What had caused Titan to act like this? And who exactly was this man? These questions suddenly became Olivia's biggest concern. And she knew that the answers would not be easy. Mysterious feeling, as the ambulance rushed through the streets, Olivia felt her heart pounding in her chest. She sat in the passenger seat, her eyes fixed on Titan, the loyal German Shepherd who still has stern expression, his eyes shining like torches. Titan still had his eyes on the man he had been protecting. He seemed to know something that Olivia couldn't understand. Both were silent, but the atmosphere in the car was tense. The sounds of the ambulance, the shrill sirens made the air seem even heavier. Olivia felt anxious and confused. She couldn't shake the feeling that something very strange was happening. How could Titan act like this? Her dog had never shown such strong protection before. Why was he guarding this man, as if he was the only thing that mattered to him? She looked down at Titan, the dog's eyes gleaming with determination, and Olivia sensed a warning in them. Titan was protecting someone, not just saving them. The ambulance pulled into the hospital, and Olivia quickly followed the paramedics as they wheeled the man into the emergency room. Titan still refused to leave the man's side, standing silently outside the emergency room, staring at the door as if to say that anyone could come in, but not anyone could hurt this man. Olivia walked in with the paramedics, and a doctor, Dr. Andrews, quickly got to work. "We need to check his vitals immediately," the doctor said calmly but urgently. Olivia stood beside him, her eyes still fixed on Titan. She felt like she couldn't leave this man, even though she didn't know him. There was something that kept her from leaving. Dr. Andrews turned to Olivia with a strange look, as if he had sensed her anxiety. Do you know him? He asked, his eyes suspicious. Olivia shook her head. No, I don't. But Titan. Titan has been protecting him, and I feel like something strange is going on. The doctor looked at her, then at Titan standing outside, his dog eyes still wary. Sometimes pets can sense things we can't. But we'll do everything we can to help him. He turned back to the paramedics, continuing his work. Olivia stood still for a moment, confused but also somewhat relieved. If Titan sensed danger, then perhaps it wasn't all by accident. She decided to stay, even though she didn't know what lay ahead. The emergency room doors closed, and Olivia stood outside, unable to take her eyes off Titan. Her anxiety was growing. Was this man really in danger? Did Titan know something that she couldn't? Suddenly, a woman walked in, her face anxious and hurried. She saw Olivia and Titan standing outside the emergency room and rushed over. Laura, Olivia said when she recognized the woman in front of her. Laura was the older sister of the man Olivia had saved. She looked at Titan with surprise. This dog didn't leave him? Laura asked, her voice trembling with worry. Olivia nodded. That's right. I don't understand why, but Titan seems to know something. Laura looked at the emergency room door, then back at Titan, and a strange feeling ran through her eyes. Hey, his name is Ryan, Laura said, not taking her eyes off Titan. Ryan is my brother. But we don't understand why he fainted like that. He seemed healthy. There was nothing wrong. And why was the dog so protective of him? Laura's question made Olivia feel even more uneasy. Something was wrong, and it seemed like they were both caught up in a mystery that no one understood. Titan continued to stand outside the emergency room, his eyes fixed, as if he didn't want anyone to hurt Ryan, whoever he was. Olivia's feeling grew stronger. This wasn't a coincidence. Perhaps Titan's appearance was a sign of a larger journey that they had to explore together. Ryan's story. Olivia stood next to Laura, both of them looking into the emergency room where Ryan was being cared for by the doctors. Titan was still standing outside, not taking his eyes off the door, his sharp ears twitching at every sound coming from inside the room. It seemed that this dog understood that only Ryan could decipher everything that was happening. Olivia felt that there was something strange between Titan and the man she had just met. Titan was fiercely protective of Ryan, as if his life was something extremely important. Laura, do you think there might be something threatening to Ryan? Olivia asked, her voice filled with worry. Laura looked into Olivia's eyes, then shook her head, her eyes filled with confusion. I don't understand. Ryan is a healthy person, never had any serious illnesses. He rarely gets sick, and has never encountered such a dangerous situation. Why today? Why Titan? I don't understand. Olivia couldn't answer, just silently looking at the emergency room. She felt an inexplicable feeling in her heart. These things weren't random. The connection between Titan and Ryan seemed to be a matter of fate, and Olivia knew that she wouldn't be able to leave until the truth was revealed. A moment later, Dr. Andrews walked out of the emergency room. He looked at Olivia and Laura, his eyes filled with tension. Ryan's condition is stable. He could wake up at any time, but we can't determine the cause of his fainting yet. We'll need to do some more tests to understand better. Olivia felt relieved but more worried than ever. Thank you, doctor. But when can I see him? He should wake up in an hour. You can go see him later, the doctor replied. Olivia and Laura walked towards the hospital room together. When they entered, Ryan was lying on the bed, eyes closed and breathing evenly. Titan immediately ran to the bed, sniffing Ryan's hand gently, as if checking to see if he was safe. Olivia watched Titan's actions and wondered if this dog could sense things that she couldn't. Laura stood beside him, her eyes still fixed on her little brother. When Ryan opened his eyes, he couldn't help but be surprised to see Titan standing next to him. He whispered softly, Max. Titan looked at him. Its bright black eyes seemed to want to say something. Ryan reached out, gently stroking Titan's head, and Titan didn't hesitate, licking his hand as if he didn't want to let go. It was a strange, profound, and emotional moment. You still remember, Max? Laura asked, her voice trembling. Ryan looked at his sister, his eyes shining with emotion. Max was our dog when we were little. I dreamed of Max before I woke up. I dreamed that we were playing with it in the garden, and then it protected me. Titan must be the loyal friend I dreamed about. Olivia listened, unable to help but feel a strange feeling. She had seen Titan act with a special determination and affection towards Ryan, but she had never expected that this dog would bring back a distant memory of Ryan's. It seemed that the connection between them was more than just physical protection. Ryan and Titan seemed to have an invisible thread connecting them that only Titan could perceive. I remember Max so well, Ryan continued, and in my dream, I felt his love and protection. But I don't know why I fainted like that. I felt so tired, like something was threatening me. But when Titan appeared, I felt safe, like someone was protecting me. Laura looked at Ryan with concern, but she was also relieved to see him awake and realize the importance of Titan in this moment. Olivia stood there, thinking about Ryan's words. Was Titan protecting him not just for his own survival, but for a deeper reason? A strong feeling inside her made her believe that there was something Ryan couldn't remember, a secret hidden in the past that Titan and Max might know. As Ryan lay back on the hospital bed, Olivia turned to look at Titan. The dog was still attentive, his eyes full of loyalty and love. Olivia knew that this journey had only just begun. There were things she couldn't understand, but one thing she was sure of, Titan, along with Ryan, would open up a story that no one could have expected. And she would be here, not only to witness it, but also to find out the truth behind it all. Strange dream, Ryan was still lying on the hospital bed, feeling dizzy, but his heart was filled with a strange feeling. He couldn't stop thinking about the dream he had just had, the dream of Max, his loyal childhood friend. Max's image kept haunting him, as if it was trying to convey some message. Although the dream was just fragments, the feeling of protection and love that Max brought in the dream was undeniable. Titan was still sitting beside his bed, its bright black eyes never leaving Ryan. Perhaps Titan was waiting for something, or perhaps it was listening to the secret feelings that Ryan couldn't put into words. Ryan smiled gently at Titan, feeling the special connection between them. In this moment, Ryan understood that not only Titan, but also Max, even though he was gone, was always present in his life. Max, Ryan whispered, looking into Titan's eyes. Titan looked up, as if understanding what he said, then gently licked Ryan's hand lovingly. Ryan felt a strange sense of peace, as if the pieces of his mind were slowly filling in, and the unanswered questions were slowly coming to light. Laura stood outside the hospital room, looking anxiously through the glass door. She didn't know what Ryan had experienced in his dream, but she could see that there was a big change in him. He was no longer the cold, distant brother he had been. Now Ryan seemed to be finding a deeper connection with what he had lost, and maybe with himself. Laura, do you think his dream meant something? Olivia asked, her voice still filled with concern. Why Max? Why the dog he lost so long ago? Laura turned to Olivia, her face blank. I don't know. We never talked about Max much. But Ryan always loved Max. He was Ryan's best friend when they were kids. And he never forgot Max, but I don't think this dream is random. Olivia nodded, her feelings for Titan and Ryan growing stronger. Maybe Titan knows something we don't realize. Maybe he's leading us to some truth that neither Ryan nor we know. Meanwhile, Ryan lay in his hospital bed, eyes closed and mind lost in thought. The dream of Max was not just an emotional image, but also a reminder, a signal that Ryan couldn't decipher. He clearly remembered the scene in the dream when he and Max played in the sunlit garden. Max was not just a dog, but his best friend, his protector that he had always trusted. But now, when the dream ended, Ryan couldn't remember why it appeared at this exact moment. He turned to Titan, looking into its shining eyes. Titan was no ordinary rescue dog. It had a special presence, as if it not only understood him, but also understood the depths of his soul. Ryan felt that Titan might know something he was not ready to face. Could Titan lead him to something he had long forgotten? Ryan sat up, a little dazed, but he felt as if some force was urging him on. Titan, he called, his voice deep. You know something, don't you? Titan turned to look at Ryan, his eyes full of understanding. Ryan smiled, and though he couldn't explain why, he felt like Titan was reading everything he was thinking. You're Max, right? You're the friend I've been looking for. Titan didn't answer, but its actions were enough for Ryan to understand. It sat down next to him, resting its head on his shoulder, as if it were there to comfort and protect him. Ryan felt a wave of peace spread through him. He knew Titan might not be Max, but its presence at this moment was a miracle, a reminder that old friends were still present, even if only in a new form. When the doctors came back to check on Ryan, he felt himself ready to face the truth. The dream about Max was not a coincidence. It could be a sign, a reminder that Ryan needed to face his past in order to move forward. And perhaps, meeting Titan was the key to unlocking the unanswered questions for so long. Ryan took a deep breath, looking at Titan again. He knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but with Titan by his side, he felt stronger than ever. Together they would move forward, find a truth, and perhaps, through this journey, Ryan would find himself again. New friendship, old bond. Ryan sat on the hospital bed, his hand on Titan's back, feeling the warmth and strength from the dog. Their friendship, though just beginning, seemed to have a deeper power. Titan was not just a rescue dog. It was like a longtime friend who was always by his side during difficult times. After difficult days, Titan's appearance was like a miracle, not only helping him overcome the challenges of his body, but also helping him face the deep wounds in his soul. Although he could not fully understand what Titan was protecting, Ryan clearly felt the special bond between him and this dog. It not only protected him physically, but also seemed to be protecting him from the pain of the past that he was not ready to face. It was something very vague, but extremely real. Ryan decided to leave the hospital for a while, wanting to give himself some space to think, to face the past. That day, as he and Titan walked on the empty street, a strange feeling came over him. He couldn't explain why, but it was like a premonition. The two walked through familiar streets, along memories from their childhood. It was a street that Ryan had walked through many times, but today it seemed strange, as if everything had a deep meaning that he had yet to fully explore. When the two reached the park, Ryan stopped aside and looked around. The park hadn't changed much since the old days, but the feeling in his heart was completely different. He sat down on a bench, his eyes dreamy, as if he was searching for something in this space. Titan sat down next to him, his eyes still fixed on Ryan, as if this dog always wanted to protect him from anything that might happen. Max, Ryan whispered, his voice fragile. Do you remember all those memories? All the moments we had? When I was sad, you were always there for me, always making me feel safe. Titan looked up at Ryan, his eyes gentle and intelligent. Even though Titan couldn't speak, Ryan could feel that this dog had a special ability, the ability to understand the deepest emotions in his heart. And that, despite just knowing each other, created an inseparable bond. In that quiet moment, a gentle wind blew, sending dry leaves fluttering around them. Ryan closed his eyes, feeling the cold wind touch his face, like a sign of the changes that were coming. Perhaps the memories of Max would never fade, but now he no longer felt lonely. Because Titan, a new friend, but a part of the journey he was on. Ryan stood up, turned to look at Titan, then turned to look at the paths he would have to walk next. You'll help me, right? Ryan asked, a question that didn't require an answer. The Titan responded with a light lick on his hand, as if to confirm that, no matter what, it would always be there for him. Over the next few days, Ryan began to feel profound changes within himself. He became more resilient, and occasionally, memories of Max would surface, but this time, they were not of sadness or regret. Instead, they were warm memories of friendship, of protection, and of a bond that, no matter how much time passed, would last. Ryan decided to return to his job, not because he felt the need to do something to change things, but because he realized that life would not stop, and he could not stand still. He wanted to do something meaningful, to repay the love and loyalty that Max, and now Titan, had shown him. The next day, when he returned to the rescue camp where he had first met Titan, Ryan felt like a part of him had healed. He no longer felt insecure or skeptical about what had happened. He decided to work here, not only to help dogs like Titan, but also to find the true meaning of life through each working day. He felt it was his responsibility to give back what he had received, from Max's protection to Titan's wonderful friendship. Meanwhile, Titan was always by his side. His eyes were strong, and his loyalty was eternal. Every step of their journey was not only a journey of healing, but also a journey of finding himself, a journey that Ryan could not go on alone. The past transformation, working at the shelter, seemed to open a new door for Ryan. Every day, he worked with Titan, caring for abandoned dogs, helping them overcome the fears and hardships they had experienced. Although there were times when the work became stressful and tiring for Ryan, it was all worth it. He felt like he had found a new purpose in life, a connection between dogs who needed love and care, and himself, who found healing in his friendship with Titan. Every morning, Ryan and Titan went to the shelter together. He cared for the abandoned dogs, helping them get used to their new environment and teaching them to trust people. Titan always followed him, his eyes always showing perseverance and protection. Ryan knew that not only were he and Titan a team, but that the dogs in the shelter had their own story, their own journey, just like him. One morning, while Ryan and Titan were walking the dogs in the park with a group of volunteers, he saw a puppy running around, looking for attention. The puppy's bright eyes were curious and scared, as if it had never felt safe or loved. Ryan stopped and turned to look at Titan. Look, Titan. He looks like you when he was a puppy. Maybe he was abandoned too. Titan looked at the puppy, then back at Ryan as if he understood something. Ryan felt a strong sense of empathy. He walked closer to the puppy, gently petting it. The puppy was no longer shy, but walked closer to Ryan, sniffing his hand with a gentle trust. Good, Ryan said, patting the puppy's head. You'll be fine. A warm feeling spread through Ryan. He realized that Titan was not the only one who needed saving, but these dogs were also looking for a second chance or chance to change their lives. Ryan remembered the days when he felt worthless, when he thought he had lost everything. But now he understood that it was the change from within that was most important. These dogs not only needed his love, but he needed them as well, as part of his healing journey. In the following days, Ryan began to help more, participating in dog training programs, improving his communication skills with wild animals, and finding ways to inspire the community. Titan was always by his side, like an indispensable companion. Every step he took was not only a healing for the dogs, but also for himself, as he continued to face the fears and losses of his past. But there were times when Ryan felt like there was a ghost still haunting him. Even though he had found peace in his work, even though he had Titan by his side, the memories of the past months could not be easily shaken off. When he sat alone in the quiet room, his eyes were lost in thoughts of Max, the old friend he had lost. Sometimes he could not understand why Max was such a big part of his life, even though he had learned to love Titan. One evening, after work, Ryan and Titan stopped on a familiar path where he had walked with Max as a child. This path, though much changed, still held indelible memories. Ryan sat down on a nearby bench, patted Titan's head, and said, "You know what, Titan? Max is always here, in my heart. You are too. You helped me find myself, and I no longer felt alone." Titan sat down next to him, quietly, his eyes full of understanding. Ryan felt a strange happiness to have Titan here, the dog he believed would always be his most loyal friend. Although the past could not be changed, he had found healing, comfort, and love in his present life. Surely, even though he did not know what would happen, he would always be ready to accept it. The next day, at a meeting of volunteers, Ryan shared his story. He talks about his journey, about loss, about Max, and about how Titan helped him through it all. "I learned," Ryan says with a small smile, "that even when pain is irreversible, there is healing and hope. And that's why I want to help these dogs, because they helped me find myself." Letter from the past. One cold morning, Ryan and Titan were taking their usual walk in the park near the rescue camp. The scenery around them was quiet, only the sound of their footsteps on the paths covered with yellow leaves and the chirping of birds on the branches. Ryan felt at peace, as if he had found a balance in life that he had never imagined before. But at this moment, an unexpected event occurred, changing his life completely. While passing a deserted area in the park, Titan suddenly stopped. His ears perked up, his eyes fixed on a small parcel thrown next to a bush. Titan walked over, sniffed it, then turned back to look at Ryan, as if asking him to check it. Ryan stopped, looked at the dog, and then looked at the parcel. A strange feeling suddenly rose in his heart. He bent down, picked up the parcel, and noticed that it was old, dented, but still intact. There was a handwritten name on the package, a name Ryan hadn't thought he'd see in years: Maxwell Turner. Ryan felt his heart pounding in his chest. It was the name of Max, the loyal friend he'd lost. It felt like time had turned back, and this package was a link, a message from the past. Ryan didn't know what to do, but he felt he couldn't ignore it. He opened the package, and inside was a letter that had yellowed slightly with age. The handwriting on the letter was familiar. It was Max's. Ryan held the letter in his hand, trembling slightly, and began to read, "Ryan, my dear brother, I don't know where to begin, but these are the things I couldn't tell you when we were together. Over the years, I searched for a reason to live, but it wasn't until we were apart that I realized how much grief had held me back. I had to face hardships without anyone to share them with. But I always knew that you would never give up and that you would always be a part of my life, no matter where we were. There's just one thing I want you to understand. Dogs are more than just friends. They are companions in life, friends who help us realize our own worth. You will always have dogs by your side, just like Max has. Always been mine. Never forget that I love you and will always be with you, even if only in memory. With love, Max. Ryan stopped reading, his heart clenched, his emotions choking him. Max, though long gone, was a reminder of the deep feelings he once had for his old friend. Max's last words were a reminder, a continuation from the past, helping Ryan understand that friendship, love, and loyalty from friends, whether human or canine, never fades. Ryan turned to look at Titan, and his eyes were filled with emotion. Titan, do you understand? You're like Max, you're here with me, and I'll never let you go again. You'll always be my companion, just like Max was mine. Titan looked into Ryan's eyes, his eyes shining with understanding, and he licked Ryan's hand gently, as if to affirm that, no matter how much time passes, memories and love will always remain. Ryan put the letter in his pocket, deciding not to open it and read it again. Max's words, although inaudible, were forever engraved in his heart. The past was no longer a burden, but an indispensable part of his life. He might not be able to change what had happened, but he could change the way he lived and the way he faced the future. The two of them, Ryan and Titan, continued walking. Nothing had changed about what they were doing, but Ryan knew that every step he took would no longer feel lonely. Every time Titan licked his hand, every time he looked into the eyes of this loyal dog, he felt like he had completely healed. He knew that no matter what difficulties lay ahead, he would always have Titan by his side, and this friendship would never fade. A promise kept. The days that passed after Ryan received Max's letter were no longer the same. Although everything around him seemed calm and unchanged, there was a great change in his heart. He began to see things differently. There was no more loss, no more emptiness, but instead a sense of hope and motivation. Max had given him a clear message. Friendship and loyalty are eternal things, not faded by time or distance. Ryan could not forget the last words in Max's letter, and he felt a great responsibility to continue the path that Max had laid out. The love of dogs, that loyal friendship, would always be the driving force that pushed him to move forward, not only for himself, but also for all the dogs he helped. He felt that this journey would bring him peace of mind, a healing from within. That day, when Ryan arrived at the shelter, something unexpected happened. One of the dogs he had cared for, a dog named Cooper, a pit bull with a tragic past of abandonment and abuse, had found a new home. The sight moved Ryan deeply. Cooper, a dog who had been fearful and wary, was now trusting humans and finding a home. Ryan's eyes sparkled with joy and pride. This was why he did this job, to help these little creatures find peace and happiness again. As Ryan and Titan sat down on the grass, he felt like he had come a long way. Although there were times when it was hard, there were times when he wanted to give up, he now understood that each dog he rescued not only found a new family, but he himself was finding his own family, a family made of love, loyalty, and trust. One day, while Ryan was teaching a new dog named Daisy how to trust people, he realized something important. He no longer had to fight alone. This dog, with all her fears and worries, learned to approach and accept love. Every step forward for Daisy was a step forward in Ryan's own journey, a journey of healing from within, where he was not only the rescuer, but also the one being rescued. After completing the training session, Ryan sat down to rest, looking into Titan's eyes. His dog, his loyal friend, had always been by his side, not leaving his side for a moment. Titan sat down next to him, as if understanding that the work for today was done. Ryan feels grateful to have Titan in his life. Every day, he feels more and more that Titan is not just a rescue dog, but an integral part of his journey, a journey to find himself. Ryan took out a notebook and began to write. His thoughts and feelings needed to be shared. He wrote about his journey, about the changes he had gone through, about what he had learned from the dogs he had rescued. Each word he wrote was an opening of his heart, a way for him to release the deepest feelings in his heart. I lost a loyal friend, but I found many new friends. Each dog I rescued not only changed their lives, but also changed mine. They taught me that love has no limits, that loyalty is not something we expect, but something we create. I felt like I had found my family, And that family was not just my close friends, but the dogs I had rescued and helped. They were the friends I would never leave behind. And promise that I will continue to help these dogs, because they helped me find myself. When he finished writing, Ryan felt a strange sense of peace. Everything seemed to have been lifted. Every burden in his heart seemed to be gone. He stood up, looked at Titan, and smiled. Thank you, Titan. You helped me understand everything. Titan looked at him, her eyes shining, as if she understood every word he said. The next day, as Ryan and Titan continued their work at the rescue center, Ryan felt more energetic and confident than ever. He knew that this journey would never end, and he didn't want it to end. Because every dog he rescued, every step he and Titan shared together, was an important part of his own story, a story of recovery, love, and loyalty. Unresolved feelings, although Ryan's life had become peaceful and purposeful, not everything was perfect. One day, as Ryan sat in his office at the rescue shelter, he began to feel an inexplicable emptiness. Even though he had helped countless dogs find new homes, healed broken hearts, and befriended incredibly loyal creatures, a part of him still felt incomplete. He knew that he had healed somewhat, but the emotions and memories from the past, the old wounds, had not been completely resolved. Ryan stood up, walked out of his office, and looked at Titan. The dog was resting on a small bed in the corner of the room, his eyes soft and comforting. You know, Titan, Ryan said softly, I feel like something is still missing. Even though I know I'm doing good things, it feels like there's something missing. Titan looked up at Ryan, his dark eyes shining, as if he understood what Ryan was feeling. Titan didn't say anything, but his actions were enough to comfort Ryan. Ryan smiled and sat down next to Titan. You must be confused, right? We had a wonderful relationship, and I found a new purpose in this work, but there's still something that's not quite right. Ryan sighed, looking out the window at the sunlight. His life had changed since meeting Titan, and he knew that each day was a step forward in his healing journey. However, the memories of Max, his loyal friend who had passed away, were not easily forgotten. He still remembered the happy moments they shared, the hours he and Max spent playing in the garden, running around without worrying about the future. Although he had learned to love again with Titan, a part of him felt guilty towards Max. I never got to say goodbye to you, Max. You were the best friend I ever had. And you'll always be a part of me, whether I want to forget it or not. In this moment, Ryan realized that he didn't need to forget the past to move forward. Instead, he needed to accept it, embrace it, and allow it to become a part of him. The memories of Max would stay with him forever, but they weren't a burden. They were a gift, a reminder of friendship, of loyalty and love. Ryan stood up, deciding to leave the rescue camp for a while to ease the feeling of frustration in his heart. He wanted to go somewhere to face his unresolved emotions, and hopefully this would help him clear the thoughts that were occupying his mind. He decided to go to a place he had been to with Max, a quiet beach where they had shared memorable moments. When they reached the beach, Ryan stood quietly looking out at the vast ocean, listening to the sound of the waves. The feeling of freedom, the vastness of the ocean made him feel as if he had been freed from the burdens in his heart. Titan sat beside him, his knees on the sand, as if enjoying every moment with Ryan. Ryan took a deep breath, feeling the gentle breeze blowing, and he began to say the things he had not been able to say for a long time. Max, I thank you so much. You gave me unconditional friendship. You helped me overcome challenges. I will never forget those memories. But I also know you wanted me to continue living, to continue loving and helping other creatures. And that is why I have to continue on this path. He bent down, picked up a small stone, and threw it into the sea. A feeling of relief and serenity began to spread in his heart. From now on, he would no longer feel guilty or regretful about what had happened. His past, with all its joys and sorrows, will always be with him, but will not stop him from moving forward. Ryan stood up, looked at Titan, and smiled. Thank you, Titan. You made me understand that memories can be embraced, not left behind. You are the companion I need, and I will never be alone again. The two continued walking along the shore as part of a new journey, not only for the dogs Ryan rescues, but for himself, to find peace in his heart and the confidence to continue loving, helping, and living a meaningful life. A new journey, a promise kept. Ryan stood on stage at a large conference for volunteers and animal lovers. In front of him was a crowd of passionate people who were looking for ways to help abandoned dogs and animals. Although he felt a little nervous, inside he was filled with pride and gratitude. This was the result of a long journey. He had been on a journey that was not only about healing himself, but also about inspiring others to help and change the lives of voiceless creatures. He stood on stage, looking into the eyes of Titan, his loyal companion who had always been by his side. Titan sat down right next to him, eyes shining, ears perked, ready to receive all the looks and affection from the audience. Ryan knew that everything he did today was not just for himself, but also for all the dogs he had saved. Titan is a living testament to loyalty, unconditional love, and the strong bond between humans and animals. Ryan began to speak, his voice warm but full of emotion. Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan, and I'm so happy to be standing before you today to share my story. What I'm able to do today is not just for me, but for all the dogs we're helping, and for all of you who share a common mission with me to bring love, care, and home to creatures who deserve it. Ryan talked about his journey, about the difficult days, about losing Max, and the feelings of emptiness he experienced. He shared about meeting Titan, about how this dog changed his life, not only as a loyal friend, but also as a teacher, a guide who helped him understand that love and loyalty are things he can never ignore in life. One of the things I've learned along the way, Ryan continued, is that there is nothing more important than the unconditional love and loyalty that animals provide. We can live without material things, but the friendship and companionship of dogs is what gets us through anything. And that's why we don't just rescue dogs, we help ourselves find purpose in life, find peace of mind. Ryan looked at the audience, who were listening to him with rapt attention. He couldn't help but feel proud that his story had touched people's hearts. I stand here today not because I'm a dog rescuer. I stand here because I've learned that we can change the lives of these creatures and change our own lives at the same time. Together, we can create a better world where love and loyalty always come first. Titan, as if he understood Ryan's words, stood up and walked over to the audience, gently licking the hands of a few of them. Smiles spread across everyone's faces as they saw the warmth and love in Titan's eyes. This was not just a dog, but a symbol of everything Ryan had shared, a companion, an unconditional love, and an inspiration. As the talk ended, Ryan felt a great sense of accomplishment. He knew his journey wasn't over, but today he had accomplished an important part of his mission, to share his story, inspire others, and continue working toward his chosen cause. Ryan turned to Titan, then patted the dog. Thank you, Titan. We've been through so much together, and you're the best friend I've ever had. You helped me understand that friendship isn't just about what we get, but also what we can give. And as they walked off the stage together, Ryan felt like it was time to move on. A journey that wasn't just about saving dogs, but about continuing to grow as a person, continuing to inspire those around us, and living a meaningful life. He knows that no matter how difficult the road ahead is, Titan will always be there for him, accompanying him every step of the way. And they will continue the great work they started, not only saving animals, but also changing the world, one step and one loving heart at a time. The story revolves around Ryan, a man who has faced the pain of losing his loyal friend Max, a German Shepherd. After Max's death, Ryan feels lost and alone. However, when he meets Titan, a rescue dog, Ryan begins a journey of healing not only for Titan but also for himself. Through his work at a rescue shelter, Ryan helps countless abandoned dogs find new families, while learning to face the past and accept loss. When he receives a letter from Max, Ryan finds peace in his heart, understanding that friendship and loyalty are never lost. Finally, Ryan shared his story at a conference, inspiring others and realizing that his journey continues, not only to help animals but also to help himself and the community. If Ryan and Titan's story has touched your heart, don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel to discover more touching and inspiring stories with us. Thank you for always accompanying and supporting.